In this video, we're going to go over some tips that will help you get the most number of points for the Module 4 problem set. The big problem that tends to trip people up is number 3. So let's have a look at this one. Patient satisfaction. Scores derived from a patient satisfaction survey are normally distributed with mu equal to 50 and sigma equal to 7.5, with high scores indicating high satisfaction. An SRS, or simple random sample, of n equals 36 is taken from this population. Okay. What is the standard error of x for these data? Most people are able to calculate the standard error. B and C often trips people up. So in B, we seek to discover if a particular group of patients comes from this population in which mu equals 50. So you want to sketch the curve that describes the sampling distribution of the sample mean under the null hypothesis. So under the null hypothesis, that's where the mean is equal to 50, or the middle of your curve should be equal to 50. And then you're going to mark the horizontal axis with values that are, you're going to go out to the left, -1 standard error, -2 standard errors, -3 standard errors, and then above that mu equals 50, to the number that is 1 standard error above that, the number that is 2 standard errors above that, the number that is 3 standard errors above that. Okay. Make sure you do put the third, plus or minus the third standard error, because a lot of students will get the first and second one and they'll forget the third one. Okay. And again, this is under the null hypothesis. The null hypothesis means the mu is 50, so the middle of the curve is 50. The highest point in the curve is 50. Okay. Now, part C says, suppose in a sample of n equals 36 from this particular group of patients, the mean value of x is 48.8. Right? You're going to mark this finding on the horizontal axis of your sketch. So the same graph you did for B. And again, don't spend a lot of time trying to do this electronically. Feel free to sketch this out on paper. Okay, and then just take a picture with your phone, email it to yourself, and copy it under part B. And then add the little x for 4.8 and copy that under part C. Okay. And then part C also has you compute a z statistic for this scenario. Okay. All right, and D, the two-sided alternative hypothesis. Most students get that one. Now E, find the corresponding p-value for your z-statistic using table B. So in part C, you find your z-statistic. Now you're going to find your p-value from the table. Keep in mind what you have to do to the p-value if you have a two-sided alternative hypothesis. Okay. And part F, make sure you tell me if you're rejecting the null hypothesis or failing to reject it, and why. Remember, that includes something like saying, you know, the p-value is less than our alpha of 0.05, so I'm going to reject the null hypothesis. Or the p-value, that is whatever it is greater than 0.05, so I'm going to fail to reject the null hypothesis. You know, something along those lines, and make sure you have one final conclusion that a non-statistical person could understand. For example, it is likely that, you know, the mean of this population, the mean scores of this population is not equal to 50. Okay. Or we have strong evidence that the mean scores for this population is not equal to 50. Or go in the other direction, you know, we don't say that they're equal to 50, but we say, you know, it's plausible that the mean scores of these patients is equal to 50. Okay, I hope you've enjoyed these tips on how to score the most points for your Module 4 problem set.